Go.
Okay, there we have it. All the pieces glued and fastened together. I think it looks pretty darn good. So now we got to shape it. So the way we're going to do that, I drew the camber on a piece of wood. It's kind of hard to see. But anyway, then I drew straight lines just beyond where the curve is going to be, so I could mark the board. So when we start shaping this, we're going to do it by cutting each side straight first before we start to put the curve into it, and that way it makes it nice and even. And once we get the lines on, then I'm going to put saw cuts from line to line all the way down. Now I usually do that with a hand saw. I got this old saw that's pretty dull and really isn't going to do the job. I don't know how you sharpen those kind of teeth. Do people still sharpen saws anymore? There used to be an old guy who would sharpen them with a hand file for 90 cents. I guess he died poor, so we're not going to use that damn thing. I could use my Sawzall, but it's still early in the morning and I like to be considerate of my neighbors. So, you know, a hacksaw does a good job. And like a good old boat building friend of mine said, get your hacksaw that's got a really stiff back to it and it works a lot better. And boy, that was some good advice he gave me. Okay, so what we do, we just make a whole series of cuts from that line to the line that I've drawn on the edge. I'm going to do that all the way down. Okay, I forgot to mention, this board is going to be symmetrical in shape, which means I got to shape both sides. And that's because this board a lot of the time is going to be used on both tacks. Now when I do the board on the other side, that one's only going to be used on one tack, so I'll probably make that one asymmetrical. We'll see. But anyway, for now, this is going to be a symmetrical board. Okay, you can see where I made all these cuts from line to line. And it was pretty easy to do. It only took about 5 minutes. But now that gives me a nice reference point when I start chopping it down. Now, there's different ways I can start working on this. I could use this hatchet here, like this, and just real quickly chop all those pieces. You could use a hammer on it, like this. That works pretty good. Or you could use a draw knife. My dad used this draw knife to work on wooden boats 85 years ago. I've still got it, although I gotta say I almost never use it. It's probably been 20 years since I've used this thing, but I thought, well, this would be a pretty neat place to use it. I'll tell you where I used to use it. Was building a plywood boat, and I sprung in the chines. I would use this to put the bevel on the chine for the bottom planking. And it goes really fast and it's just kind of fun to do. And just a mention about chines. You guys and gals who are building these boats with stitching glue, I gotta say, you're missing the best fun of building a small boat. Springing that chine in, you get your frames or your forms, whatever, set up. And when you finally get to the point where you start springing that chine in the notches and it all goes tick, 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 right through all those notches and you get it fastened in, to me, that's the most fun moment in building a boat. And plus the chine is quick and easy to do. do. The other place I use it is building round wooden spars. You get your mass 4-sided, tape it down. Now you want to make it 8-sided. You got your lines on there. Now you can take your skill saw, set it on a 45-degree angle, and cut the corner off. But I'll tell you, when that saw is set on 45 degrees and you're cutting a narrow piece like that, it is so easy for that to go off and screw up the whole project. But you take this draw knife and you can walk right down that thing, and after a while you get so good, by the time you get to the end, it's almost as though you'd run a plane down it. Of course, I always did run a plane down to smooth it out. But you can get rid of that wood in a hurry, and it's easy and it's accurate. Okay, so now we may or may not use this for this. So just take it. Well, there's a knot. Okay, so that's all right. There's another knot. But anyway, you kind of get the idea. You get the idea how you can work that right down. And then when I get it real close, then I am going to just take my grinder and grind it all smooth. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. I'll probably use the hatchet and this. We'll see how it goes. Alright. Okay, I've decided that swinging the hatchet is the most effective way to get rid of this. Okay, now that I've got it that close, I'm just going to run my grinder over it. Let's see, I've been working on this for 8 minutes. Pretty easy. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, once again I'm going to use one of these carbide paint removal discs, because you can sure remove some wood in a hurry with that thing. So we're going to smooth this out. Okay, so now I'm just going to do, I got four sections to do, and then once I get that done, it's going to be almost there. Then it's a case of just smoothing out that corner and rounding the edges down a little bit. And we're not going to get carried away with this. I know that racing boats, they do this on computers and high-tech grinding machines, shaping machines. But let's face it, the position you're sitting in the boat is going to have a lot more effect than the little difference that this is going to be. Alright, so we'll finish doing this. Okay, there it is. Now we got 3 flat surfaces. There. And the camber, as you can see, is about 1/3 of the way back from the leading edge. All we got to do is take these corners down, take the edge down a little more, and this thing will be just about done, except for finish sanding. Okay, that's what we're going to do now. Sanded, ready for paint. And it didn't even take 3 hours to do it. Now, you can see how the edges are all tapered down. I didn't get these edges quite as thin as I would probably like to see it, but the wood is kind of soft and I don't want it all breaking up. And it's just a cruising boat and a beach boat, so it's going to be just fine. Now, one thing, I had said I was going to use fiberglass rods to pin it together. Well, there's some 3/8 rods that I used where it was thick. Then down here on the leading edge, you can see the 1/4" rods that I used, and those were probably from the bicycle whips that they use. And then on this edge, on the trailing edge, I use 1/8 rods, which I got out of a kite. And so it looks like it's going to work, and of course it was nice to be able to just sand away and not worry about hitting metal. So there it is. I just can't wait to see that thing sliding through the water, lifting me to windward.